Hello and welcome back to the second video in today's creative day. I hope you enjoyed the first card. Here is the second card, and there's a little bit more involvement on this card and a little bit more going on, and I will talk you through it before we get started. So you have a little bit more scoring here on the background to create a bit of embossing on this card. We've then used the cloud punch, and all the clouds are in your kit, to create a little background. And then we're going to do a different technique with the blending brushes. You can also use sponge daubers if you've got them. If you don't have those and you have pens, you can colour them. You can add the colour with your ink pads. There's lots of different ways you can add the colours. And then I've used the word hugs from the Layering Hugs dies and brought in a birthday sentiment. So there's a bit more going on this card. But I really like the effect that you can create with these rainbow dies here. So you'll need everything from the card kit, the second card kit, which will include a Magenta Madness card base and card layer. You will have 2 pieces of basic white, one for the outside, one for the inside. You will have 7, or you should have 7 clouds that have already been punched out. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll have the letters that form the hugs, and then you'll have 4 rainbow arches. Okay, so we're going to start like we did on the first card by adding the scoring detail to this layer of our card. Okay, so bring your scoreboard back in, or if you don't have your scoreboard, that's fine. You can also use your the scoring element on your trimmer. And again, it doesn't matter which way you put this in, and we're going to score at 2 different intervals. So the first one we're going to score at is this 1/4 of an inch, which is your first big line. Okay, so score top to bottom, turn it round, and you're going to score at that same measurement on all 4 sides. So that's our first line. You're going to leave it where it is, and you're going to move along to the second line, which is the 1, 2, 3, 8 line, and you're going to score. Again on all 4 sides, just turning every time and scoring top to bottom. And there you have it. That is your scoring done, so you can put those pieces to one side. Now it's entirely up to you whether you add it to your card with the side facing up, that the dent goes inwards, or you can add it here where the dent is outwards. It really doesn't matter too much. I like to use it where the dent is facing upwards. I just think that's my personal style. So you can go ahead and add that to your card, and that just sits in the centre like so. Okay, lovely. And then you can start working on your 2 smaller pieces. So what you'll find is both pieces sit nice, or one pit with both pieces the same size, they sit nicely in that little frame that we've created. But before we stick this down, we've got our clouds to add. And what you're going to do with this is you're going to add your clouds just so that they sit very randomly on your piece of white. When you add them, you want to be sure to add some of them so that they overlap the edges, and give them a change of direction. So don't have your clouds all the same, going in the same way. You want to turn them over so that you get a really varied pattern. It's up to you how close you add them. You may not use them all. I gave you 7 just because I thought, well, that should give you plenty, depending on how closely you put them together. Okay, so I'm just mixing and matching, working my way down the piece of card. can even do them so they're upside down. The good thing about clouds is they're never all the same shape, are they? And then up here we'll just add our last one in this corner, like so. So there we have our clouds piece all done. I'm going to put that to one side so that it dries before we move on to the next piece. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to use our blending brushes. We're going to add our colour and our detail to these 4 arches. So the top one, I'm going to start with Magenta Madness. And you can, like I said, you can use blending brushes or you can use sponge daubers. It's entirely up to you what you use. And I'm going to be quite delicate with my colour and just add the colour following the arch round. And yeah, I just want a really delicate amount on that arch. The second one we're going to leave blank because we're going to add some dots to it. This one here, and it creates a really nice pattern on your grid paper as well. This one here we've got is Granny Apple Green next. Love those 2 colours together. And then last but not least, we've got Mango Melody, which is my yellowy colour throughout this class. I found the hardest part of this class was choosing the colours to use. I wanted to go subtle at one point, and then I created with the Regals and thought, well, no, that's nice. And then I used the brights, and then I just thought, no, I'm going to take a few from each and go from there. So that's 3 of our arches done. The next thing we're going to do is add our dots to our second biggest arch, and this dots is this image here on our stamp set. Okay, and I'm going to just add the dots around my arch. And this design feels quite, I hate the term, but on trend at the moment. You tend to see a lot of rainbows around with the sort of black and white added in somewhere. So now we have our dots done, we're going to bring our piece of white card back in that we've added our clouds to, and we're going to snip off the excess pieces. You can keep these if you want. Don't feel you need to throw them away. Okay. Oops. That's it, just like so. So then what you're left with is your straight piece of card that we can add quite nicely in the centre of our frame on our card. Give that a bit of glue, and we're sticking this down flat. Just like so. Now, with your arch, I've actually stuck my arch on with dimensionals, which seems really, really fussy and over the top, but I like the effect. So what I've done is I've taken a set of the mini dimensionals and I've cut them in half, and this is where it gets a bit fiddly. Doesn't help that I need to cut my nails as well, so I'm going to add just a couple of these to each. I tend to add one on the side and one at the top of the arch, like so. And on this card, I'm going to start by adding the top arch first. So the biggest arch is being stuck down first. And you just want to try and get it as much in the centre of that white panel, but I'm going in the top section of the card. Okay, so that's number one. Quite a bit of attention to detail on this card. Tweezers would help with this if you are comfortable using tweezers. And then you want to line it up so that the bottom of the arch is level, okay? And then just carry on down until you've got your rainbow all stuck on. You might want to put less on this small arch. Okay. So there we have our rainbow all stuck on, looking lovely. I really like the colours on that rainbow. The next thing we're going to do is going to add our hugs, and I'm going to do this backwards because I want the S to end up sort of on the edge of here. I'm going to start with the S just in case I run out of room, and I'm putting this down so that it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy, and you need to remember to give yourself room to get your hug, your birthday on as well. You could do the birthday first, but I'd rather, just personally, I'd rather get mine stuck on and then use the heat embossing. So I'm just angling these when I stick them down to give that sort of higgledy-piggledy sort of look. You can by all means pop them on straight if you wish. Just use a ruler to make sure you get them on straight. So we've got hugs, and then we can heat emboss that sentiment. Now you'll see that I've just used the word birthday, so I'm simply going to use a piece of scrap, and this sentiment comes from the Blossoms in Bloom stamp set that's in the annual catalogue. It says happy birthday, but I just want that birthday part, okay? So we're going to give our little piece a bit of a wipe with our embossing buddy, and then in the same way as we did the first card, we're going to bring in our Versamark and some embossing powder, and we'll get this stamped. So we're just going to add the Versamark to the word birthday. Okay. And this is a great way to kind of change the way you use your stamps. A little dip, and then we want to set that with our heat tool, which is just here. Now I've not given you a measurement for this, I don't think, because it very much depends on what sentiment you will use. You may wish to just leave it with the hugs. That's good. Okay, so what you're going to do now is to just trim this down so that you've got a banner with just the word birthday showing, like so, and then that is going to get stuck down just onto your bottom of your rainbow, and then inside you can add this piece here. You could choose to make this white piece bigger if you wanted, or you could cut another layer of that background, add the same scoring details and add that inside, but I've kept mine quite straightforward. There you have card number 2 all done for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.